Hey YouTube, this is Alexander, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the current iPhone 6 situation. So let's go ahead and get started. So first up, I'm going to be talking about the specs and features. While there isn't a lot known about what kind of specs are going to be in the device, I would expect the device to be thinner and lighter, as that is Apple's normal way of introducing a new iPhone. They usually like to say that it's thinner and lighter, and it is, and that's just one of the things that they tout about it, so I would definitely expect it to be thinner and lighter. And some of the leaks have actually showed that to be true, so if those leaks hold any weight with any of you, definitely expect a thinner and lighter iPhone. Next up, an improved camera and flash, and this is something that's pretty much across the board always true with every iPhone introduction. So we're going to probably see an improved camera as well as an improved two-tone flash that they introduced with the 5S. But other than those two things and a higher display resolution vertically anyway, since the display will be getting bigger, there isn't really much to talk about or anything that we know really. I wouldn't expect the specs in the iPhone 6 to be leaps and bounds ahead of whatever is in the iPhone 5S currently. I wouldn't expect a ton of more cores in the iPhone 6 or a much higher clock speed. Those things just aren't something that iOS 8 needs, or iOS in general. It's never been a resource heavy platform, which is why they can get by with relatively low-end specs and still have the device perform really well. So I wouldn't expect any crazy specs to come out of the iPhone 6. Although there are rumors that they are pairing with certain banking companies to allow for some sort of mobile payment system. Rumors are sort of few and far between, and there isn't much concrete detail, but I definitely wouldn't shun the idea of an iPhone 6 sporting NFC, as that will actually help it to become an industry standard here in the US. So if they are planning to introduce NFC on an iPhone, which I think is pretty unlikely to happen, I would still welcome it because it would help to make it an industry standard, and many Android users such as myself who actually use NFC whenever they can would have more options of using it with other devices and other payment systems. So next up is pricing and availability. So if they do introduce two new iPhones, what kind of pricing would they have? And what iPhones currently would get the boot and which ones would stay and be replacing the ones that got the boot? Well, I've gone ahead and drawn up some plans that I think is possible for what Apple is going to do. I believe that the current 5C is going to replace the current 4S in both pricing and availability, which will make it free with a new 2-year contract here in the US. While the current 5S is going to replace the current 5C in both pricing and availability, as well as the upcoming iPhone 6 4.7-inch to replace the 5S in both pricing and availability. So with those out of the way, now that we basically have just moved each device over a bracket and sort of lessened the price, where does the iPhone 6 5.5-inch come into play? I'm guessing that the 5.5-inch will have a larger battery since it will be a bigger device all around, a larger display, that means more manufacturing going into the display, a larger chassis or body, and all of this stuff isn't free. So I would expect it to be, I'm guessing it's going to be about $50 extra for the 5.5-inch display iPhone 6. So essentially you'd be getting 16 gigabytes for the $199 iPhone 6 4.7-inch display, while the iPhone 6 5.5-inch display at the same 16 gigabytes would be $249. To me that just makes sense, but maybe not to you. I will definitely love to hear a comment on what you guys think might happen to the current way that the pricing and availability is sort of between each iPhone, but for me I believe that's what's actually going to happen. 5C will replace the 4S, the 5S is going to replace the 5C, and the 6 will replace the 5S in terms of pricing and availability. But I'm always interested to see what you guys have to say. Now that does leave one question, what would the iPhone 5C have, or what would the refresh of it have if it does have a refresh? Well, I'm actually not sure that it's going to have a successor or a refresh. I wouldn't imagine it to, since the sales numbers didn't really show it to be the most popular device, or even as popular as some might have anticipated with its multicolored variations. So I would be really surprised if they did refresh the iPhone 5C and not just try to kill it off by replacing the 4S and then eventually having that be replaced by the 5S. But it's always possible that they're going to introduce a 5C refresh, keep the 4S around, and introduce 3 new iPhones. But rumors aren't really pointing in that direction, so I wouldn't go that way either. But it's certainly possible. That's pretty much going to round out this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So basically, specs and features I went over, talked about pricing and availability, what I think is actually going to happen with the current pricing and availability brackets for each iPhone, as well as a little bit of the iPhone 5C, which I don't feel is going to get a refresh this year and is probably going to be getting the beginning signs of the boot, aka getting rid of the 5C. But that's just me. You guys might have other ideas. If you do, be sure to let me know with a comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe down there for more, because I will be having more follow-up coverage on what actually was announced, as well as other videos relating to Android. So be sure to subscribe if you guys are anticipating any of that. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.